was pretentious. You're great.
Just the things you do and the things you love.
The things that over
are not
time
good.
become who you are.
Yeah. You are not your worst moment.
Juan Leyva is on the play. He did mulligan to 6. He'll shock over Hallowed Fountain. He's at 18.
Yeah, Juan Leyva again playing that Azorius aggro deck that we've seen so much of here on the SCG Tour over the last few weeks since this new Ravnica Legion set has been legal.
Basic Island turn 1 for Job.
All right, we got Cardboard Live active with updated standings if you want to take a look at that. If Jonathan Job also has a bio. That's a new feature from Wilson Hunter and the Cardboard Live crew. We had him out this weekend, and we had some technical difficulties on the back end, and he really stepped up and helped us out. So I just wanted to give a big shout-out to Wilson Hunter there for making sure this broadcast runs smooth, as well as creating such a wonderful extension that we're able to use.
And, of course, with Cardboard Live, you can check out deck lists. You can look at how Job is making this Teamer mana work. It looks a little rough.
Yeah, I mean, with only 8 sources of green mana for the Hydroid Crassus, but as the game goes longer, you're able to pretty easily find that green mana thanks to Op, Discovery Dispersal. It's not as bad as you might think.
Speaking of a little rough, though, Leyva has missed his second land drop. Just Leonin Vanguard is the second play there.
Yeah, but not a terrible one. It can get up to 2 power if he has another creature on the following turn. And it pairs really well with one of his stronger 2-drops in a Johnny's Pridemate.
Healer's Hawk added to the field as well, so that Vanguard's going to gain Leyva a life. An attack for 4 coming across. Job's second turn was Hinterland Harbor, so that green mana is online. Use the Discovery to put a Discovery in the bin and draw a card. We'll see if he can get red mana, maybe start deploying some Drakes. Though the Drakes in his deck are Crackling Drakes and Terramanders. So no Enigmas.
I think so. We're seeing an upkeep opt, I believe, from Job's side of things. If I'm not mistaken, he actually kept a card on top with Discovery Dispersal and then changed his mind on it, maybe? Not 100%.
Maybe didn't realize he was missing his third land drop as you see him discard Dive Down for turn.
Well, I think I'm just wrong. I think that he had already drawn for turn and just was digging for land, and unfortunately for him was unable to find it.
It could be he kept the opt. Kind of missed there. Leyva has now found the second land, and it's a Johnny's Primate. That's a combination with Leonin Vanguard.
Oh, absolutely. That's why you play Johnny's Primate and the Leonin Vanguard. They work so well together. Even cards like Healer's Hawk's going to grow this Johnny's Pridemate up to a 4/4 this turn. And it's going to be attacking for at least 5 on the next.
So Juan gained a couple life there, rumbled across for 5. Looks like we have 21 Leyva to Job 9.
Yeah, and with Job just kind of spinning his wheels and missing land drops, this game is already over. He needed Lava Coil this turn to check that of Johnny's Pridemate, but now it's just going to be way too big for him to handle, and this chart, of course, here is going to spell death.
Yes. Yeah, you can't use a 2-mana cantrip to find 2 sources and a spell.
Yeah.
Discovery puts 2 cards in the graveyard, Niv Mizzet and Terramander. He'll draw a card, and he'll pick them up. Yeah,
missing that third land drop, no shocks from Jonathan Job early on to contain those early creatures. And even though Juan Leyva stalled on 1 mana for the first couple turns of the game, was able to deploy enough threats and enough pressure to take the game from Jonathan Job, who also had quite a bad start.
So we'll go to sideboards. I don't see any extra lands for Job, but we'll see what he has if he can draw the ones in his main deck. 3 Entrancing Melody, 2 Crushing Canopy. That's wrong. He does not have 5 Entrancing Melody. We'll get that corrected there. 2 Realis Viceroy, 2 Disdainful Stroke, 2 Banefire, a Sailor of Means, and a Star of Extinction. Looks like Fiery Cannonade is what we're missing. There's 3 copies of that, and there are 2 melodies.
Yeah, so the 3 Entrancing Melodies, we're going to get that fixed in just a second, but that is 3 copies of Fiery Cannonade, a pretty huge deal here for Jonathan Job in this particular matchup. Azorius Aggro generally has a bunch of smaller creatures with 1 to 2 toughness, and none of them are pirates, because you know what color combination doesn't have pirates in it?
Not a lot of white pirates.
Not a lot of white pirates.
There's some blue ones. You see Sailor of Means in Job's sideboard.
Sailor of Means.
That one survives the Cannonade just on damage.
Yeah, and you're going to see kind of a transformational sideboard here for Jonathan Job. This is one of the things I like most about his deck. You're going to see cards like Dive Down, Spell Pierce kind of leave his main and go to the board. And I think maybe even Terramander is going to be moving to the sideboard. And we're just going to see him lean on Discovery Dispersal, Niv Mizzet, and Hydroid Krasis to do the heavy lifting, while Cannonade, Realis at Viceroy, Sailor of Means, Star of Extinction, an Entrancing Melody come in from the sideboard.
Over on Leyva's side, he has 4 Tocatli Honor Guard, the Sultai Slayer, as it were, 3 Baffling End, 2 Negate, 2 Dovin Grand Arbiter, a Conclave Tribunal, a Selective Snare, and a Johnny Adversary Tyrants, and a Spell Pierce. What do you like here?
I like becoming a little bit more interactive to make sure you don't get completely blown out by some of these sideboard spells from Job's side. Spell Pierce, I think, is quite good. Johnny Adversary of Tyrants is a great way to recoup after getting hit with something like Fiery Cannonade, as well as just pushing your creatures to have enough power to rumble through something like Crackling Drake. Now, Juan doesn't know that Job doesn't have Enigma Drake in his deck. You know, this is obviously a teamer version splashing green for something. He doesn't quite know yet, but you can assume that it's, Opt, Discover Dispersal. It's going to be a teamer deck, right? Mm-hmm. There's going to be a lot of red payoffs here. I believe he's going to bring in those. The Conclave Tribunal seems like a no-brainer. It's a great answer to Niv Mizzet because it isn't an instant or sorcery, so there's no free card draw and damage dealt from Job's side of things. I like Dovin Grand Arbiter to play this more of a anti-sweeper strategy. Dovin allows you to survive as well as recoup pretty well from that. And then Negates, I think, should be coming in as well. I'll be interested to see whether or not Juan brings in Baffling End. At the current iteration, the hits are Hydroid Krasis as well as Terramander. But after sideboard, it could just be the 3 Hydroid Krasis.
I really like this take on Teamer for Jonathan Job, and I don't know, maybe it's something that you could play on Versus Live this week, which airs every Tuesday and Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Todd Anderson, of course, is on that every week, and you're kind of a Teamer mage.
I was going to say I have yet to meet a Teamer deck that I didn't love, and while Jonathan Jobs might need an update or two, he is a very smart guy and really builds interesting takes on existing archetypes and really makes them his own. This Teamer Drake's deck, as you can check out on the Cardboard Live extension, is something to behold.
And Versus Live, that's right here on this channel, twitch.tv/SCG Tour.
Yeah, and even if you miss it live, we usually run a rerun around 6 p.m., as well as having the YouTube VODs up a few days later. The ones from Tuesday usually go up on Friday, and the ones from Thursday usually go up on Monday. Yep,
the VODs are great, and it's also a really great live experience because y'all take questions live while you play.
Oh, absolutely. And we actually have a recurring cast member in Hysteus. He's been a sub for our channel for quite a while, and he's always in there asking the first question of the day. So shout out that. And in the bets question, and Director Rob, who we have on right now, is usually our director for Versus Live, and he picks Hysteus at this point. Now it's just become a running joke.
Looks like Job is mulliganing to 6 here. Leyva's kept on 7. Job's thinking about where he wants to scry.
Yeah, Job on the play, though, is a pretty big deal, and with only a mulligan of 6, it's not that bad. So he just needs to have a few points of interaction early on and hope that something like Hydroid Krasis or Niv Mizzet show up in a timely fashion to really hammer home.
Scry to the top for Job. Sulfur Falls tapped as the first turn. We'll go Leyva's way. Basic Plains, some kind of 1-drop. It's a Dauntless Bodyguard. Back to Job.
Well, looks like Stevens off the top, a shock in hand, and a shock takes down the Bodyguard.
Not bad, keeping things under control so far. No green mana yet for Job, though the splash is just those Hydroid Krasis, so you need to find that late.
Yeah, I mean, there are some Crushing Canopies in the sideboard, which are a powerful option in a number of matchups. However, in this matchup, I assume that those are just going to be relegated to the sideboard, as it basically only kills Conclave Tribunal or potentially History Banali, that's where the damage is already done.
Turn 2 for Leyva was a little mopey. Glacial Fortress into a Jonas Pridemate. Job turns on green mana with Rootbound Crag and Lava Coils the 2/2. Leyva has another Pridemate, and here is a Leonin Vanguard. Not enough creatures to trigger it right away.
No, but that's kind of the cool part of the deck, is that the Leonin Vanguard can gain a life without attacking. And if that first Johnny's Pridemate had not gotten hit by that Lava Coil, this would have been a pretty explosive turn for Juan Leyva.
Absolutely. Back on Job's side, he wants some more removal spells. This is a matchup where you just want to hit creatures early and often before deploying your threats. Crackling Drake this turn could be pretty good, though.
Yep. Looks like Job here has another Lava Coil, if I'm not mistaken, as well as an Opt and a land and a Crackling Drake. So a lot to think about. He could just go land Crackling Drake, but that sets him up to get punched in the face pretty hard if Juan Leyva goes land Conclave Tribunal, attack for 3, or just 1 mana creature, land Conclave Tribunal, attack for 5.
Right, with Vanguard Pridemate just on the table, that gives you some pause about just deploying a threat.
Right.
Tapping 2 lands, looks like he's going to go for the Lava Coil. There's a question if you want to go for the Life Gainer or the Pridemate. Ooh, never mind. There's Land Crackling Drake.
Balk! Balk. Tricked me. Now, here's the thing. The Crackling Drake play is not a bad one, but there is a small chance that one Leyva is able to get that Ajani's Pridemate out of range of Lava Coil this turn if he has, 2 more Leonin Vanguards. And so John Joe was taking the pause. Well, you want to put up a bit of a roadblock so that your removal spells actually start gaining you traction. Whereas if you just continually kill thing, the Azorius aggro deck can just outpace you by playing more cheap creatures.
Well, there is another Ajani's Pridemate, and it can vote for Conclave Tribunal. This is not what Job wanted to see.
Yeah, this is bad news bears for John Job. But he did draw a card off the Crackling Drake, so it's net positive on card economy. But this Leonin Vanguard is pumping both these Ajani's Pridemates and turning them both into significant threats.
Yeah, Vanguard bumps Leyva to 21. Both the Pridemates are 3/3s. The one that is untapped will connect. Job down to 17.
Yeah, we're going to lead off here with an Ops. Lava Coil is almost certainly going to take down one of these Leonin Vanguards. And notably for John Job, Fiery Cannonade unable to take down these Leonin Vanguards, so that's not an option for him at this time being.
He'd love to have Shock for the Vanguard plus Coil for one of the Pridemates.
Yeah.
But Opt is going to be the play here. 2 Opts being fired off so far.
Yeah, and that's kind of the downside to playing this Temur Drake stack and the Izzet decks in general. Sometimes you just spin your wheels so much trying to find what you need instead of just playing more virtual copies of the things that you need. And we see this time and time again in older formats specifically where decks are digging and digging and digging and not really gaining any value out of it. The payoff cards of Temur Drake, your Terramanders, your Enigma Drakes, Crackling Drakes, things like that. Wow, what a turn.
Another
Holy
Vanguard
moly.
and a Benelish Marshal. Things are getting out of hand on Leyva's side of things.
Yeah, this Ajani's Pridemate is a 6/6. You know what doesn't kill a 6/6?
Red decks.
Red cards. At least not usually, and definitely not in this standard format. He's going to need a lot of help over the next few turns, John Job.
So Leyva's to 23 off of those Vanguard triggers. He's got a 3/3 attacker in the Vanguard that has been hanging around. The Pridemate's a 6. That's 9 coming across. Job is to 9.
Yeah, and not even a Hydroid Crisis here is going to get him out of it. It's only going to be a 3/3. It's only going to draw him 1 card and gain him 1 life. And it doesn't even eat any of the creatures on the other side of the table. It just trades.
I think he might have, he picked up a 6th land, so you can make it a 4/4, but it's still a precarious position.
Yeah, and now he has to choose. I can make the 4/4 Hydroid Crisis with that land off the top, or I can play Crackling Drake and hope to draw something like Lava Coil to take out that Benelish Marshal. Unfortunately, that Ajani's Pridemate is just a little too big for him to handle right now with any traditional removal spell, so he's gambling pretty big here if he goes for the Crackling Drake.
Yeah, it's tough, too, because the Drake is kind of large. He already has 5 cards in the graveyard, but those Vanguards are just going to make that Pridemate even larger next turn.
Yeah, and the problem for Job is that he actually has to end up chump blocking on the Leonin Vanguard if he goes for this play, because it's going to send him up to 10 life. He's going to draw 2 cards, but with the creatures on the battlefield, that Ajani's Pridemate has to be blocked. It's almost lethal by itself.
The play is Crisis, X equals 4. Job will draw 2 cards, go to 10, and pass it back. Leyva draws. He was empty-handed. See if he picked up a good one, but he already is pretty far ahead on the table.
Yeah, I mean, Job's going to need an insane sequence next turn. It's going to require Cannonade as well as, 2 Shocks in order to take down all of these creatures. And even then, he might still be dead to the Ajani's Pridemate.
Leyva goes to combat. Vanguard's put him to 25. Pridemate is now 5 +1/+1 counters and a pump off of the Marshal. Attack with all the creatures. Job has to just jump in front of the Pridemate, and we have 9 coming across. Job to 1.
Yeah, this is a really heads-up attack from from Juan Leyva, and a less experienced player may have missed it. Really, some people are too afraid to attack with Banache Marshall, but Juan correctly asserting that the Johnny's Parade Mate has to be blocked or else it's lethal, turns everything sideways, and John Job here is one step away from the door.
Mm-hmm. And he doesn't have anything in the way of sweepers that can clean up these kind of creatures. He's going to start with the Crackling Drake. Needs a pretty big draw off that. Almost needs a Black Lotus, honestly.
You know, I bet you could hand him a Black Lotus right now and he'd still lose this game.
Yeah, I would believe
now,
that too.
You hand him a Black Lotus and an Ancestral Recall, then we're talking.
Black Lotus Ancestral Time Walk would be a good start.
Ooh, well, Time Walk might actually do it.
Yeah.
Time Walk lets you untap with a Crackling Drake, and that thing can get large in a hurry.
All right, did he draw Time Walk? So looks like Hinterland Harbor he'll start. Terramander.
Can we deploy 2 more chump blockers? That's the question. A Shock here can take down one of these Leonin Vanguards, but with just Island in hand, he's at 1 life. There's 3 attackers, and you got 3 blockers, or 2 blockers.
Based off what you were saying, you know, when Leyva made that attack last turn, where he was just heads up about knowing that he was good to attack with those creatures, I don't think he's going to miss the swing here.
No, this is an elementary play. John Job even main phased his own Shock on one of the Leonin Vanguards. And Shock is the only card here, I think, that keeps him from dying. So, and even if he does have the Shock, he's effectively eating the Banache Marshall and chum blocking with the Terramander. So it's not even that big of a deal. Juan Leyva here takes it pretty convincingly against John Job's Teamer Drakes.
Are we just going to go to that match then? Okay, cool.
All right. Well, we're going to bring it back to the booth. That was not as